Moving on to our second speaker, Mr. Piyush Chaudhary. He is the founder of Wave Analytics. Mr. Piyush is an avid technician with an edge of Elliott waves. He is a coder and looks at the charts with the lens of patterns and objectivity, that being his core skills. He is into Elliott wave principle and automated trading algorithms.
Hello, so we have Mr. Piyush Chaudhary with us now. If I remember correct, Piyush, you spoke in TechMa 2019. That was the first session in that conference.
Yes, and that is really a pleasure. That is a good memory. And that was also my first ever stage presentation. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, that's nice to know. And actually, I remember we came to meet you in Mumbai, and that long discussion on different topics of technical analysis. So Piyush is one of those analysts who has got really deep understanding of lot of subjects in technical analysis. And if I think about someone who can speak on Elliott, then I don't really remember other name who can speak in detail about Elliott, because he also knows a lot of things. He also works on algo products. He codes himself, so there are a lot of aspects which we will be discussing with him. So thank you, Piyush, for accepting our invitation in eTechMa 2021. It's great to have you here.
Honor is all mine. Technical analysis is more like playing the music. So if you are specializing in one particular aspect, it's like just how to play just one song. But to understand the music technicalities, you need to understand various aspects of music to play on the guitar. So instead of specializing on just one song, go on, keep playing the music, you'll understand more depth of technical analysis. So today I'll be discussing about Elliott wave, and coincidentally, this is also my first ever presentation on Elliott wave. So it is a great honor and a great moment.
Great. Yeah. So so before we discuss that, if you can just brief us about your journey so far in markets, your overall experiences, how you started.
Yes. So I started some around 17, 18 years ago. But like everyone starts with, although I started with candlesticks and some classical patterns, but then my journey got lost initially with a lot of indicators. So over the first few years, I used to pay less attention to the price, and my attention would always remain on the indicators. So I think for about first 5-7 years, I really think that I wasted away with all the indicators. It was only much later, after some time in 2009-10, that I understood that the price, which holds the entire key, which holds the entire meaning to the market, and it is somewhere around that time that I started getting into patterns and Elliott wave, and then. So over the last 10 years, I have spent more or less into understanding the markets and the patterns more objectively through not only Elliott wave, but also once I started coding, so I started looking at everything with a very, very objective lens. Either this is objective or it is not. There's no two way about it. So everything that was not objective was out. Everything that could not be coded was out. So so then that's how it became a very, very clear journey for me. Elliott wave, to a lot of extent, the way Elliott wave is, and the way Elliott wave is being followed, is that it has a lot of rules and guidelines. That is why a lot of people get lost in the process. Right. But if you remember class 12 math, I always try to remember class 12 math, where we had trigonometry, which had somewhere around 150 formulas, and calculus, which had even more. So if you combine that kind of rules and guidelines that were supposed to be followed during class 12 math, Elliott wave is nothing in front of that. Absolutely nothing. It's peanuts. But people in stock market start to believe that it has to be easy. It is not easy. It is probably rules and objective, but it is not easy.
Right.
So today we'll be discussing more on Elliott wave, and I hope that I'll be able to simplify your start into Elliott wave, which is actually very difficult to simplify. But most people get lost with the wave counts. They talk what is the wave count of the particular stock or particular index. Instead, they should be talking about where is it in the larger structure of the things. Anyways, we'll be talking that and coming to the lower part of how to really trade Elliott wave. That is the most important part, how to really trade into it. So I'll begin here now.
Great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All yours, Piyush.
Thank you so much. So great to be on eTechma. The anatomy of trading Elliott waves. So while we can go through the uh, overall structure of Elliott waves, something that will go into the trading part. A slight history of Elliott wave. Although everyone knows R.N. Elliott made it, but very few people know that it took him literally 15-20 years to make it, to understand the depth of it. And that was in the 1920s and the 30s that he was working on Elliott waves. Uh, Sometime in 1980s, a person called Mandelbrot came up with a book on fractal geometry of nature. Now, that was the first time a person was officially reading and officially giving credit to the fractals in the fractals of geometry present in the nature. And the fractals of geometry present in the nature were officially being recognized by the whole world around 1980s was happening. But much lesser known was the fact that the patterns, that the fractals were studied into stock market much earlier. In 1950s, Edward and Maggie did a tremendous job, and in 1920s, R.N. Elliott started it. In fact, he was the person who has started this all part of patterns. So, what brought Elliott into limelight was the fact that sometime in 1930s he wrote a telegram to a newspaper and sending that the correction that has started in 1929 has now ended and the bull run in Dow Jones is about to begin. He was off by a day or so, and that single telegram brought him to limelight. A few years later, he wrote the book on Elliott wave, and that was the beginning of Elliott wave, in fact. Uh, Elliott contended, in his own words, that the ebb and flow of mass psychology, and literally it is the mass psychology, always revealed itself in same repetitive patterns. And these patterns, when studied in greater detail, can be exactly measured. Now, the focus is on exactly measured geometrically through Fibonacci, first and second derivative ratios. Now, the first derivative ratios are only 0.618 and the 1.618. Then you go into the second derivative of square of 0.618 and the square root of 0.618, which we get as 0.382 and 0.786, and so on and so forth. And then you go into the 1.618 square and the 1.618 cube, and you get 2.618 and 4.236 and all, 1.382 and everything, all those second derivative ratios. And that, in fact, all these patterns, when studied in greater details, have a clear inter-pattern relationship as well, which was actually a huge discovery. If you go back, that it was done 90 years ago. All the patterns that he came out with, which were nearly more than 20 of them, and if you actually see mirror them for bullish and the bearish ones, so they come up with nearly 37, 38 patterns almost. So these patterns were then segregated into just two broad categories, impulse and corrective, which we also call them as trending and corrective, or whichever way we can call them. Now, if you if you have ever seen any Elliott wave count, you must have seen at least this part. People marking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an impulse up or an impulse down. Now, while this is clearly known that an impulse either moves in 5 waves or moves down in 5 waves, everything else other than impulse is corrective. To simplify the entire Elliott wave, we can say that either it is impulse or it is corrective, and an impulse, either it's a 5-wave rise or a 5-wave fall, and everything else is corrective. Now, corrective patterns are a little more difficult, like flats, zigzags, and triangles, though our focus for the day is entirely on impulse. But we'll try to understand how to trade an impulse. Now, while 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse have been readily understood as impulse. Even impulse comes up with a little bit of variations. The variation is largely in terms of which wave out of the three is the longest. Now, either wave 1, wave 3, or wave 5, any one can be the longest in the entire structure, but wave 3 cannot be the shortest. That is the most important rule that you have to know in Elliott wave. While we'll cover the rules of impulse later in the presentation itself, these are the large categories of how impulse waves form, courtesy Elliott Wave International, of course. And these are clearly on the one side of the bullish impulse waves. You can mirror them down to bearish impulse waves also. And you can see here, this is the wave 1 extension in the larger wave impulse. This is again the wave 1 extension. Sorry, this is the wave 3rd extension. This is the wave 1st extension, and this is the 5th extension. And in these cases, we have some differences in how the wave 2 and the wave 4 form. So this gives you a clear picture on the broader category that how impulse waves generally form. You can always refer to this as a textbook pattern formation, textbook formations while you are referring to the chart. However, now when the thing here is, what we are trying to do today is that we'll be looking at wave 1 formation, and we'll try to catch the wave 2 bottom and try to play the wave 3 up swing or the wave 3 down swing. Now, there's a little bit of a confusion that goes around in Elliott wave, is that if the retracement of the wave 2 is less than 61.8%, there is a chance that the entire rise will be an ABC rise. When the retracement is less than 61.8% of wave A, although the wave A is an impulse, when the retracement is less than 61.8 of wave A, the odds are high that there could be a zigzag under formation and not an impulse. Although we have seen it's like a 50-50 chance that it could be an impulse or it could be a zigzag. But on a conservative side, it can even be a zigzag. So we'll cover both the things, both the possibilities, and see how we can trade keeping the conservative mindset and still exit the trade in profits. So the commonality in a zigzag formation and an impulse formation is that they both have the first wave as an impulse. In here, you can see as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even for the down wave, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except that the wave B has a less than 61.8% retracement. That is the major difference point. That in a zigzag, it is always less than 61.8% retracement, while in an impulse, it can be less or it can even be more. Our stress here is trying to catch the wave 2 bottom, not the wave 4 bottom. We are stressing on the wave 2 bottom. One thing that stands out in the midst of all the rules of the wave principle is that an impulse never occurs in isolation, which means that if there is one impulse, there is bound to be at least one more and can even be two. Now going back here, if there is one impulse, that is wave 1 is an impulse, the odds are high that there can be at least one more impulse and can even be two if it is the larger impulse. If it is a zigzag formation, we'll still get at least one more impulse. And the odds are so high that we can actually risk our money on that. So this is theoretically speaking, this is another formation that in the wave 1, there's an impulse, wave 2, which we'll try to catch, wave 3, and a wave 4 bottom, and then a wave 5 extension. Or it just expires with an ABC zigzag. So while theoretically you have seen a lot of these pictures by now, so let's just take an actual case study and see how in real life we can actually trade. Although when we look at the charts backwards, we can plot them easily, but in real life, how to really trade them, we'll see. But to conceptually speak on this, there's a very high probability of success to play for the first follow-up of an impulse. There have to be two aspects to this approach. Firstly, the identification of the impulse has to be correct. Just because a rise or a fall has happened doesn't mean that it's an impulse. You might be marking or labeling it wrong. So the rules of the impulse have to be understood. Now, in the Elliott wave parlance, these are the least number of rules, or probably the easiest number of rules that you can actually implement and you can actually remember. But you still have to remember and implement. That is the internal rules of an impulse. Now, this is an edge because at some point of time, a lot of Elliotticians, while practicing, compromise on these simple rules also. So, this is an edge if you can just remember these few rules. The second part we'll cover will be where to enter, the projections, and the exits. Now, the impulse rules. Wave 2 retraces at least, although theoretically they say that the wave 2 retraces only 1% of the wave 1, but in my experience, I just don't trade anything that is less than 23.6% of wave 1. And in most cases, you will see that the wave 2 will retrace at least 38.2% and will even go down to 78.6% of wave 1. Wave 2 maximum retracement can be 99%. Wave 2 cannot be bigger than wave 1. A 38.2 to 61.8 retracement is considered as a reasonable one, and 61.8 to 78.6% retracement leaves all doubts out that the larger waves is also an impulse under formation. So until it is less than 0.618, you will still have doubts whether the wave 3 is going to be a zigzag and it will terminate as an ABC zigzag. After 61.8 retracement, you have a very high degree of certainty that the larger picture is forming into an impulse. Now, the third rule is wave 3 cannot be the shortest. Now, we are talking about the wave 1, the wave 3 of the wave 1. Okay, like here. When you are studying wave 1, you have to see that the wave 3 is not the shortest. Wave 2 is not larger than wave 1. Like this, what we are trying here is the internals of the wave 1, what we are studying here right now. And in a trending impulse, wave 4 never intersects with wave 2 zone. Now, on an average, wave 4 retraces somewhere between 23.6 to 38.2%, but can even go to 50% of wave 3. In very rare circumstance, it can even go to 61.8%. If it can retrace 61.8%, that means the chances are that it has not intersected with the wave 1 zone, then there's a very good chance that there's going to be a wave 5th extension that is going to happen. But anyways, that is all later. The rule number 5th that a lot of people are either not aware or don't follow is that the 0-2 trend line must never touch any part of wave 3. Now let's revisit. Now this is the golden rule. If you can only remember that, we are probably going to bank on this the most, and you have to really remember this. Do not ever compromise on this rule. Let's go back here, that the wave 0 is here and 2 will be here. 0-2 trend line should not touch any part of wave 3. Any part of wave 3. If it touches somewhere here, that means wave 3 has terminated before that. So that is the golden rule. Please do not forget that, and always implement it. So what if it touches? What if it touches really? What if it touches here? What if you think here wave 2 has ended and you draw the 0-2 trend line, but this bounce happens and then it starts correcting again? So then you understand that the wave 2 is clearly under formation. So then you wait for the wave 2 to complete and then re-enter, or maybe average, or do whatever. So trading the setup. First of all, you have to wait for an impulse to form. When you are waiting for an impulse to form, you have to clearly label it, you have to follow the rules and do all the sort of things which you have done till now. After that, you have to wait for its retracement. Preferably wait for at least 38.2% retracement. Do not jump before that. if it has retraced more than 61.8% retracement, you are probably at a much higher degree of certainty. The odds are in your favor. And after that, you have to do is draw the 0 to trend line, and probably wait for a reversal candle or sort of a moving average to cross over. Or you can draw a variable moving average or a declining trend line and sort of them to cross over before you enter, and trail it with the 0 to trend line. You can do as per that part. So step 3 is enter as per the reversal candles in the retracement zone or on break of the trailing trend lines. Trailing trend lines is from the wave 1 high you can draw, which we will do in the actual case study, and then do the target projections as per retracement, which we will also cover. Now the target projections as per retracement, depending upon how much it has retraced, whether it has retraced less than 61.8 or more than 61.8, the target projections are based on that. So now we look at the actual trading case study of Bajaj Finance. This single case study will clear out a lot of your doubts. Now this is the period of May end and June. This is not the period of May. This is not the period of March, where everything was getting into a bottom and everything was psychologically difficult to catch. Now sometime in May, Nifty had already taken the lead, and you can take the laggards into the picture, and you can enter them. So basically the laggards were getting into the mode around that point of time. So I've tried to take the case study, which was probably not of the most proactive trader, but even if you were late entering into the bull run, you could have spotted this one. So somewhere in the end of May and early June, this clear impulse wave had formed. Now, few things to notice, that if you had now what I have drawn trend line is a 2-4 trend line, but if you draw the 0-2 trend line, it would not touch the wave 3 formation. So we are clearly into that. Wave 2 must have retraced less than 61.8, that is correct, which is okay with it. Wave 4 retraced possibly 23.6 to 38.2 here, but which is not the speculation part here, that the 5 wave impulse is very, very clear, and the 2-4 trend line crossover terminates the impulse formation. So that is one rule that you have to now remember, that the 2-4 trend line, the lows of 2 and 4 trend line, when they cross over, that is the termination point of the larger impulse, the trending impulse. Now after the impulse had terminated, we now draw the retracement from obviously the starting points 1783 to the wave 5 high. The stock is currently at 2443, and will now wait till at least the bare minimum 2223 to come, or if it can come down to 2043, that will be even good. So this is the 61.8%. This is the minimum retracement that we will look. Now the textbook says that it can retrace only 1%, but that is not the way we are going to trade. We'll trade only if it can retrace at least 38.2% retracement. Bajaj Finance actually retraced 38.2% retracement, and the moment it retraced there, it made a very strong, large white Marubozu candle, and which was clearly the fact that maybe it has reversed from there. So you might be wondering here that do we not need to know the corrective patterns under formation to catch this pattern? And that is what we are going to do. That although the more knowledge is like good mein jitna good dalo utna acha hai, more knowledge is always good, but even if you are having lesser knowledge of that, we can manage with it until you understand more of corrective patterns. Now in this case, I am going with an assumption that you have zero knowledge of corrective patterns, because we are only getting into the impulse patterns right now. So at this point of time, you have seen that the large bullish candle has formed, and the minimum retracement has happened at 38.2. Now, had you drawn a simple trend line from joining the highs, it has crossed that. Or even if you draw a moving average, say something joining the highs 5-day moving average or a 13-day moving average, it would start crossing the highs of that. So in that case, the crossover has happened. And if you draw the 0-2 trend line, you will see that the minimum criteria for the entry has happened. So we can take a chance. Now what happens thereafter is that we have drawn here is the 0-2 trend line. Now at this point of time, I always zoom in the chart and see in my preferred time frame if it is not touching the wave 3. Now here you might think that it is touching wave 3, but it is actually not. If you go into the lower time frame, it is not touching the wave 3. So I am absolutely sure that I can take my chance. Now please understand that there's no certainty. We are always playing with probability, although we are dealing with the higher degree of certainty. So 0-2 trend line is drawn, wave 3 it's not touching, it is now crossing above the previous wave 5 drawn. So probably we are in the next wave C or wave 3 under motion. And yes, it was. A few days later it confirmed that it basically reached. Now after this, when we had this retracement and we entered here, after somewhere around, we probably entered around 2450, somewhere around that. After that, we drew the extensions of 0.618 to 0.786 as a conservative retracement, because in a zigzag, the most conservative wave C target is 0.618 to 0.786 of wave A. Let's go back to the theoretical wave, theoretical zigzag formation, because currently we are dealing with conservative estimate. So in this case, we have identified the wave A clearly under Bajaj Finance, and we saw the retracement of 38.2. We have entered with the retracement, and the projection has been made at 0.618 to 0.786 as the conservative estimate for the wave C target. But Bajaj Finance has exceeded that, and it has reached 1x of wave A. Now there are two ways to exit the trade. As a conservative trader, I would also exit somewhere around 0.618 to 0.786 range. As a rule-based trader, when you are coding it, so you would want something very, very specific. So the specific part is that until unless the 0-2 trend line touches, the wave 3 continues. So it can continue even till 1.618, which is 3917, theoretically speaking. It's a possible impulse also, it's a possible zigzag also. Both the possibilities are open. And until the wave 0-2 trend line breaks, the trade is not out. The trade is not over. So the target projection is a function of percentage retracement. If the retracement after an impulse, which is the wave 1, is less than 61.8%, then the larger pattern may be a zigzag. We are talking on a conservative term. In the cases of zigzag formation, the third wave, which is wave C, can terminate in the 0.618 to 0.786 of wave A. Now, there are other formations of zigzag, which are elongated zigzag, which can go up to 2.618 of wave 1 also, wave A also. But again, we are talking from the conservative target point of view. And then also the rules based. If the retracement is greater than 61.8, then the larger pattern forming is an impulse, and the target projection would be 1.618 of wave 1, though it can terminate early as well. So many possibilities are open that actually you are seeing into the broader category that 0.618 is also possible, 1x is also possible, 1.618 is also possible. So as a rule based, you are always banking on the 0-2 trend line. In fact, in both cases, the 0B or 0-2 trend line remains as a trailing exit. Now that is the golden rule, which you will actually see that this will be the biggest help in your entire trading part. The best exit would be to see and label the subwaves of wave 3 or wave C and form a clear impulse. Now this is when you go into the depth of Elliott wave and the soul of it, and the exit on the subwave 2-4 trend line break of wave 3 or wave C. Now let's delve more into the last part of it. The point number 3, which is the 0B, 0-2 trend line and the best exit possibility. So this is how Bajaj Finance actually unfolded. From here, from the 1x part, it then went again into sideways form and then continued. What happened was that the eventual 0B trend line or a 02 trend line terminated at 3190, which is possibly around 3142 with 1x only. But again, this is a rule-based exit, which was the point number 3. The point number 4 was, what is the best form of exit is that the wave C or the wave 3 is also going to be an impulse. So you better start labeling that also. In this case, this was the label 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It terminated right here. So what was the best exit was that you draw the 2-4 trend line here and see where it ever terminates. Wherever it cuts down, you exit there. Trend lines play a very, very important role. Trend lines and channeling play an extremely important role in Elliott wave. In fact, to an extent that if you can master trend lines and channels, you can, without even measuring through Fibonacci, you would know which wave is under formation. That is the power of trend lines and channels in Elliott wave principle. This is how it actually went on. After the wave 3, it went into an irregular triangle and then had a wave 5 also. Now, though we were, as we said, that this is going to be a larger impulse after the wave 3 extension, but we are not going to play the wave 4 because to play the wave 4, you really need to understand the corrective patterns under formation, and to understand which corrective patterns are under formation, the rules of alternation. This is going to be a little bit of depth of work. Although I'll give you the reading reference that through which you can basically begin, and which will really help you take many strides forward. But right now, don't get into the wave 4 bottoms and try to play the wave 5th. You might have a lower accuracy rate there because you really need to know the corrective patterns very clearly. You might get caught on the wrong side several times if this entire pattern was actually a zigzag. So later on, in fact, what we saw here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what happened thereafter, after this larger impulse, was again an impulse. So later, Bajaj Finance had a follow through of this larger impulse also as well. That can be seen on one larger time frame, which we can right now we are seeing on a daily time frame, which is my preferred time frame for stock futures or stocks in particular. For indices, I go lower time frame, 1 hour, and not lower than an hourly 75-minute. But on stocks, I generally don't like to go below daily time frame, and to go on a lower time frame only to cross check that all the rules are being followed, just to check the sub wave formations, maybe, and prefer only 75-minute below that. So what happened on Bajaj Finance was this was the larger wave 1 that we played. This was the wave 2. Now the wave 02 never touched any part of wave 3, although wave 3 was lesser than 1.618, it was only 0.786, and somewhere here the 02 got touched, the wave 4 formed, and currently it is, now we don't know, this is the current formation, whether Bajaj Finance has broken the larger structure or it can continue have the sub waves of wave 5. So to play the 5th wave is actually very difficult, because the 2-4 trend line can break and not retrace the entire wave 5th, and can go on into the smaller sub waves and keep on continuing upwards. So to play the wave 5th formation is actually a little difficult one, and do not try this stunt in the beginning. So to begin with, try to start the first follow through here, what we played, or even here, which we can play. But do not play here or here. These can be a little difficult. Something similar happened, although this was from the March lows. Something similar happened in BPCL as well. But in this case, what we are seeing here is that it retraced the wave to 0.618 very clearly. Now, even as a layman who would not know the corrective pattern formations, you could draw a trend line here, and sometimes you can even actually see it. This was actually a double zigzag, but even with this orange trend line, you can figure out that where to catch the wave 2 formation. Even if you are a little late in catching it, somewhere here or even a little late, you would trade, you would get a good part of it, provided you have followed the rules here. You can say here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is clear. Wave 2 has retraced 61.8 minimum part, everything is done. This is going to be a larger impulse. So from here, if you are playing, you could actually play till here and wait till here, even if you do not exit here on the wave 3 end, and you do not exit here. So even if you do not exit here, you can actually play for the larger impulse, because you have seen that the retracement is still 61.8. But in this case, the extension for wave 3 was less than 1.618, and after that again it went into a sideways. This was a flat and with a truncated C, and then we had a wave 5th. So this was a very nice larger impulse under formation, which can also be traded again on the daily charts. Now what happens is that what I have shown you so far is the rising impulse. So does it form on the bearish markets also? Somehow we have a sampling bias for the last 1 year. We have a larger rising impulses and the sideways correctives, and in the falling parts we have only formed smaller, either we have formed impulses on the smaller time frames, or we have only found corrective patterns. So we'll have to go back a little to check if the bearish patterns form in the market as well. So needless to add, this approach works across trading instruments on all time frames and in both the directions. So it's like needless to add, you all are from stock market, but it is still better to be said in a clear way. So I'm taking an example of Axis Bank here. Now Axis Bank, why an Axis Bank example is taken is because in 2019 it made this was an all-time high. Now from an all-time high it went down and formed an impulse. Now after it formed an impulse, it was then very much sure that it is going to be a follow-through of an impulse. So somehow it then went into obviously there was a pullback, and it retraced 61.8%. Till the January of it, we were into 61.8, and this is the February period. When after that it started breaking down. So until then, you could actually make sure that this from 825 to nearly 625 it had come, and into a downward impulse, and a follow through of an impulse is bound to happen. And the follow through is not going to be a corrective zigzag, but this has retraced into a 61.8%. Now that is going to be a huge development, because our projection is then accordingly on a larger scale of at least 0.786 or at least 1x of wave 1, or can even be higher than that. So what unfolded, you know about it, but we had a clear case that a follow through was coming. What unfolded was this, that from 750 odd, it went down to less than 300. Even your 1.618 projection of 480 was exceeded many folds. So, but at 750, if you had told someone, or if you had read it and told yourself that it can possibly come down to 480, it would have been difficult to believe. But we have only followed the rules, and we have not broken anything so far. We are only going as per the rules, and nothing, there's no assumption here. A 1.618 of a larger impulse, where the wave 1 is an impulse, is a fair possibility, is an open possibility. Something similar happened in RBL Bank as well. Now, RBL Bank was a darling stock. Again, this was an all-time high. From here, it formed. Now, the reason I'm taking these all-time highs is that it's a very important high or low that it formed, and from there it makes an impulse. Now, when a stock forms an impulse from a very important high or from a very important low, that means that follow through is going to come, and you have a higher degree of certainty on that. So RBL Bank formed an impulse, a very clear impulse. 0.2 is not touching 3, 2.4 broke down here, a clear wave 3 extension of the larger impulse formed here, and after that somehow here it retraced only 38.2%. Now I remember sometime in November or so, I remember writing a thread on RBL Bank on Twitter that RBL Bank is not done with the correction and that a follow through was coming, and that even whatever it retraces, whether it is 38.2 or whether it is 61.8, it is then definitely going to break the lows. That was all the thread that I wrote. I did not come up with any retracement target here or any eventual projected target for the shorts. I never came up with that. I just wrote on Twitter sometime in November that the correction is not over, that the follow through of an impulse is going to come, because this one impulse from all time high and to an all time low had happened. Now this was a very important development in the history of RBL Bank's price. So what happened was exactly that. It retraced only 38.2, and even if you had not known something like a corrective pattern, uh, I was until here, even I was not sure whether it can break down. But here it formed a bullish engulfing sort of pattern, and then it broke down. Somewhere even here, even I was sure around 300 that this is going to break down. So then at 300, the targets were 192 and lower, and yes, it surpassed. Now, how much it surpassed, we can never have a clear projection. It can once only the internals of the wave started forming, then we begin to have an understanding. Not until then. Now, until now, we have seen on the daily charts and the weekly charts of Axis as well as RBL Bank. Now, but on it works on long term like a charm. And if you ask me, my hobby, my favorite time, what I do over the weekends, I spend all my time on the long term charts. Really, this is where over the last few years I've worked that Elliott wave really works, and you can come up with tremendously good targets if you work and understand the basic structure of an impulse and a follow through of an impulse. And as we see that the detection and the identification of an impulse is broadly easier, the wave two retracements are relatively easier to catch, and you can trail them through the 0 to trend lines. And in the cash market, you can even take with smaller exposure and ride through very longer targets. And it's actually an amazing thing when you draw the target and you come up with a 2x and a 4x kind of a target, and you talk to yourself that, wow, is that really possible? Have I really come up with that kind of a target? And yes, you can. So this is an example of Bata India, what happened. And although in history people talk about only if you had not bought those shoes and instead invested in the Bata stock. So what you had only understood the impulse and bought the wave two bottom, you would have been able to ride the larger wave three. So this was the wave one impulse. Wave two retraced somewhere around 50 to 61.8%. You draw the 0 to trend line from around the price of $40. It goes on to about 900, wow, 725, and this is not even 1.618 of the wave one. Now these projections are as per the exponents. When we take these longer terms, we have to look at the log charts, and the targets are as per exponents. So log and exponents are a broader family. If you go back to the mathematical concepts of 7th or 8th standard, you will understand that these concepts are easily done. But in case you find them difficult to believe or difficult to understand, difficult to implement, I'll share the codes with Define Edge team and how to really implement these formulas for on the longer term charts for retracements as well as extensions, and they'll send you those Excel file, and even they can send you a clear formula for implementation. So that is the least of your worries. The larger part is that you understand the impulse rules. And even in the case of 2-4 trend line, the wave fifth has broken now, only now. And although we cannot say that the wave fifth is going to extend, because currently we have drawn the minimum retracement within the wave 3 at 1050 to 865. It is only when it breaks the larger picture of, say, wave 3 bottom, wave 3 high, that we can be sure that the larger impulse has broken. Otherwise, there's a fair chance that this can even extend, that the wave 5 can even extend and form into a larger terminal wave. But we don't know yet. So that's a hypothesis at the moment. The focus here is catching the wave 2 for a larger wave 3, where you can actually make a tremendous return. Uh, Now this was a back data. What are the waves that are currently under formation, uh, which you can see right now on your own charts? One of the first charts I would like to share is Tata Metallics. Tata Metallics is a clear here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 form. Wave 2 retraced about 38.2%. You draw the wave 0 to trend line. Wave 3 ended. Even if you had ended at even if you had exited at 340, you would still make a lot of money entering at around 80 bucks. And in fact, it went on to 1000 odd at the top of wave 3. And currently it is in wave 5, which can extend to possibly 1400, possibly. We don't know, it's a hypothesis. It can terminate early, wave 4 can extend. If it can be a larger zigzag, 2-4 breaks, it exits the trade. So everything is a probability at the moment, but these are the patterns under formation which you can study on your charts also. Another one is TVS Sri Chakra. Again, you can see it retraced about 38.2% here, and had you drawn the 0 to trend line, you can this was the maximum potential, and the 0 to trend line broke somewhere here around 2200 odd, even if you draw the log scale. So again, this is the larger impulse that is under formation, because the wave 3 again formed in clear wave 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 formed, and it almost the extension is between 1 to 1.618 of the wave 1 here. This is in fact what you should see, where the wave 1 is a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse. Mahindra CIE is the case study here, and the wave 2, even if you had not known, retraced more than 61.8%, and you draw the 0-2 trend line, and our targets are very high, but let's see till where it can extend. So this is an open case, but Mahindra CIE is a very large investment case, possibly multi-year case. But here we have a clear wave 1 formed a clear impulse, wave 2 retraced more than 61.8. We draw the 0-2 trend line, and now let's see. It's all on God. Let's see what happens. Now, you might want to see how to read more about the corrective waves and how to read more about the wave 5, fifth wave projections and the corrective patterns, the various forms of corrective patterns, and the Fibonacci interrelationships. I would suggest my reading reference would be Elliott Wave Principle by Frost and Pector. This can be, you can buy it definitely, or you can have an online read for free and legally on the following link. This is available only on the following link. Thanks to my association with Elliott Wave International, they have granted the access to this book free of cost, but it's only via this link. So you can read it online. You cannot download it, but you can read it online. But at least it is legal. You can glance through it, but the way I love to read is buy the book and read physically. So, but it can at least get you started. So this is my all about it. And any doubts, I am here. Please come up. Please come on us. Thank you so much. This is my contact information. You can go through this. I am pretty much, Twitter is my second home these days, and you can message via WhatsApp and check my website as well. Thank you so much.
So great presentation, Piyush. It was lovely and got to know a few important things about how you trade those Elliott views. But I have some questions while you were. So I'll start from very basics. Like you explained, impulse and corrective, right?
Right.
So you said that we can divide any price move or chart into things, impulse and corrective. So
right.
Impulse can be bullish and bearish, right?
Right.
And so corrective is, if impulse is bullish, corrective will be bearish. If impulse is bearish, corrective will be bullish. Right?
Correct. So if this is an impulse, this is the corrective. If this is an impulse, this is the corrective. So corrective moves in the opposite direction of the impulse.
Right. So and for any impulse there will be 5 waves, and for corrective there will be 3.
Yes, other than the fact if it's a triangle. So in a triangle,
Yeah.
there are 5 waves A, B, C, D, E. Other than
Yes.
that, all correctives are 3 wave structures A, B, C, and ABCs only.
Correct. So now for corrective, if there is ABC, I believe there are, I mean, broadly 3 corrective patterns, if I am not wrong: zigzag, flat, triangle, and then there are irregulars as well.
Yeah, can I just show you on a piece of paper, a JPEG, where I have saved
Yeah,
this
yeah, please, please,
image?
please go ahead.
So this is where the broader pattern is, that you can see that the corrective patterns. Now this is all about the corrective patterns. You will see that the ABC formation of a zigzag downwards like this, ABC zigzag here, but in a common flat it is like this, or in
Correct.
an elongated it is like this, and then there are irregular parts and everything also as
Yes.
well. And then you can also see the triangle formations. These are the contracting triangles A, B, C, D, E, and A, B, C, D, E. And then we have the expanding triangles, something here, which expands A, B, C, D, E, which is an expanding triangle. So things like that.
Yeah. So you have these corrective patterns, right? And
Right.
so if it is a corrective pattern, let's say ABC, then A
Right.
is impulse, right?
Not necessarily. In a only in a zigzag, A is an impulse. In a
Okay.
flat, A is a three-wave structure. In a triangle, A is a three-wave structure. So only in a zigzag, A is an impulse.
Okay, so can we say that impulse are the zigzag is like 5-3-5 and
Yes. So let's look at this way. So
yeah,
zigzags
correct.
So zigzags are 5-3-5s, which means
Yes,
the wave A is a 5-wave impulse. Wave B
yes,
is a 3-wave structure. Like you can see the minute part of A, B, C in it,
yes,
and a wave C will also be a 5-wave structure. So now
correct.
in every formation, you will see that the A, there's a 3 written here, B 3 written here, C 5 written here. So in A will be a 3-wave structure, B will be a 3-wave structure, and C will be again a 5-wave structure. So again in an elongated flat, A will be a 3-wave structure, B 3, and C 5-wave structure. So these parts are very very important, that you go into the internals of it. These are the
Yes,
internals. The wave A is the 3-wave, B is a 3-wave, C is an impulse. So like that. But when you look at the triangles, triangles in an it's a 3-3-3-3-3. All are 3 waves. So they are called all threes waves. A B C D E.
correct.
Everywhere you will see B's to three. Everywhere it is 3 written. So triangles are all 3-wave structures
Yes.
with the
So
subwaves. That
zigzag,
is.
so zigzag is 5-3-5, flats are 3-3-5, and triangles all three.
Correct. Absolutely correct. You nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about corrective pattern, right? Now,
Right.
see what happens practically when we start counting. Okay, so this can be a question. When you come across a particular chart, how will you start counting? Will you see a major top bottom? From where will you start?
I look at to begin with, if it has to be now when we look at the chart, I look at the major bottom. So if it is on a daily chart, if it is on a daily chart, I would prefer something like a bottom made at least in a period of 1 to 2 months. At least it has a bottom or a top has been made in a period of 2 to 3 months. That is a fairly good point to begin on a daily chart. On a weekly chart, that would be a bottom or a top, possibly in a 6 to 8 month period. So that is a good part to begin. What the
Okay.
trading setup that we have discussed. So if the bottom has formed, so now we are looking at Nifty. Suppose now this bottom has also formed here. It has formed like in a period of 2 months. This bottom. So this is probably there's a slight bit of a risk that maybe it is an impulse, maybe it is a pullback. So I would not recommend that. But if it has taken a long time to form a bottom, something like this, which formed
Hmm.
bottom that formed after 3-4 months of correction, this bottom formed. So you can
Hmm.
start from here. So this will be my suggestion. So something like this will be the suggestion.
Okay. Right. So this is an interesting thing. So you can start from the major bottom after kind of prolonged correction.
Yes.
Okay.
And any which ways, and just a sec. And any which ways, we are going to miss the first wave. We are not trading the first wave. We are going to let the first wave form. We are then going to label it that it has formed an impulse, and we are only going to buy the pullback, the corrective part of it after the retracement. So our trade setup only enters here on the retracement.
Correct. So idea is after that major bottom, you can clearly see the first wave.
Yes.
You have your internals in place, and then you can look for the correction and then plan the trade.
Yes, absolutely. Because you are currently at the beginning point, not taking too much of risk, not speculating too much is the better idea right now.
Right.
Because to trade it exactly, you will need a lot of information about the correctives, now which takes time. So that is why we are doing a simple trading setup which can be traded.
I understand. Any tip that you can give to identify correctives? For example, you said, if I'm not wrong, it should be more than 23% retracement.
Yes, to begin with, you should look at a bare minimum of something like a 23.6% retracement. Anything less than 23%, 23.6% retracement, until then you will be able to miss out. Just don't chase the pattern at all. Let it form, let it come to your own things, and after that only enter the trade. Secondly, what you can go through, even if you are not able to get into the mode of corrective patterns, is look at the double top, double bottom, classical pattern formations, because Elliott wave is largely the evolution from the classical pattern formations only. Although Elliott wave started early, but it is eventually the same thing that has happened. Now in here we have formed only the channel, and you look at it, it's a double top, double bottom formation, and retraced 38.2 and then continued from there. So you can start with the classical pattern formations even before the Elliott wave book. You can do that, but you have to follow the basic Fibonacci retracement as the bare minimum criteria, and the 0 to trend line as well.
Right. So in this chart, according to you, that is the first wave, and the second. This is corrective, right?
Yes, this is the corrective, and so here we have the impulse.
How will you define internals of first wave in this chart? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
So if you go into the smaller part, you will find that this is the clear impulse that is under formation.
Okay. So here the second wave is. Will you see the retracement of first wave? How will you define that corrective?
So in this case, the second wave retraced very less. So I would not have traded even this part. Even I don't trade. I am still a conservative trader. I don't jump on any other thing other than my own trading setups. I don't jump on any quick retracements. Even though at this point of time, it was speculation that maybe it has formed an impulse. I wait for it to come here and form my criteria and then only trade. So this was, I would have let it go.
All right. So can we just simply say that retracement has to be more than 23.6%? Then it is safe to consider it as corrective.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let's that should be good. So we have impulse and corrective in place. That rule is wonderful. The trend line that you talked about, 0 to trend line, which makes a lot of things actually simple.
Actually, this trend line was first spoken about only in 1990s. You will not believe that before 1990s, nobody figured out that what an actual impulse should be. So there was always a lot of confusion that whether it's a triple zigzag, a zigzag, or an impulse. This 0 to trend line clears the air and absolutely sorts out everything else.
Yes. So I think someone who wants to trade it, and there can be rough idea. I mean, we cannot be, because I have seen a lot of people following Elliott, and there's always a discussion on different counts. But just to make it tradable, so I think these rules are very important that you should know that an impulse should be of phi wave. There should
Correct.
be 0 to trend line which you can follow.
Right.
That you can also follow it as a stop loss or to plan your trade. Third, you
Absolutely.
said in impulse, the wave 3 should not be shortest.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that can be a guideline to draw impulse. And
Yes.
then there are, I believe, some rules. For example, no, the alternate counts, the corrective that you have in wave 2, the corrective in wave 4 will be different. Something like that. Do you follow all that, or you don't? You ignore that part?
Okay. Now the rules of alternation are not very easy to understand. Now, the rules
Yes.
of alternation are something like this: that the wave 2 and the wave 4 have to be different than each other. Now,
Yes.
but how are they different from each other? There are actually many criteria to understand the difference of wave 2 and the wave 4. First is the severity. The severity
Yes.
is how much has wave 2 retraced versus how much has wave 4 retraced. That is the severity part of it. So wave 2 and wave 4 cannot retrace the exact same percentage.
Correct.
The second part is that the larger formation, if wave, in fact, a lot of people think that just that the wave, if wave 2 is a zigzag, wave 4 cannot be a zigzag. Actually, it can be a zigzag also. The thing is
Okay.
that maybe even the wave 4, in that case, the wave 4 could be a higher retracement. What if wave 2 was a 38.2% retracement only, but a wave 4 is a 61.8% retracement? In that case, also the rule of alternation subsides or suffices rather. So the rule of alternation takes into account many criteria: the depth of it, the severity, the alternation, the magnitude. So many things that what you have to literally see is that they are not the exact mirror image. If they are the mirror image of each other, the wave 2 and wave 4, that is not the larger impulse. Except that everything else is a rule of alternation.
Okay. Nice. Right. Actually, I understand that there are a lot of things. For example, there are irregular corrections. अगर वो ना होते तो life would have been very simple. Comparatively.
Do that. And in fact, we have since March we have seen so many irregular corrections that
Yeah.
life has become irregular because of that. So
True. So, of course, you said you follow daily time frame to follow these counts or plot, right?
yes,
And then you look
yes,
at 75-minute chart for internals.
yes. Only for the stocks for Nifty and Bank Nifty. In fact, I don't even follow much of Bank Nifty also. For
Okay.
Nifty, I look at 75 minute as the base time frame. For stocks, I only look at the daily time frame. Until before that, I don't even get into the lower part.
Okay. So, I mean, how do you define your universe? Do you follow all stocks, or particularly, let's say, Nifty, or how do you you also showed us those mid caps? So, how do you decide on those stocks?
So this is my. I'll just show you my own stocks. So this is
Okay.
my list of top stocks. This is my everyday picture. So about the
Okay.
top 25, 30 stocks, I follow on a regular basis. Apart from that, I don't really trade Elliott Wave on stock futures on any other stocks. Now this is the personal comfort. Not that the Elliott Wave doesn't work on those stocks, but
Of course.
liquidity is a major criteria. So
Yes.
apart from that, for the longer term charts, I look at the monthly and weekly time frames, and I look at the top 200 stocks, the Nifty 200 index. So that is my larger universe for the long term charts. For my daily stock future trading, I look at only the top 25, 30 stocks. That's it.
Right. So you have that list of 25, 30 stocks for your daily futures and all, which you follow. And top 200 stocks, do you follow? I mean, do you track them regularly? You that counts on monthly charts?
I make the wave counts once in a month. For means week on week I would sit. I would do about
Yeah.
25, 30 stocks, and every week I do. But my main focus on as you can see in the presentation as well, for longer term charts, it is the monthly time frame.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
so for the longer term charts, since I look at the monthly time frames, I can look at them once in a month also. There's absolutely no hurry. And
Yes.
the updation, I usually sit on the weekends, look at 25, 30 stocks, and that is I'm done with that. Like that's
Yes.
how I do.
So, Piyush, one more thing is, see, in Elliott, when we decide on trading, there can be multiple ways. So, you talked about the 0 to trend line, and we can trade based on that. It is
Yes.
there's also a possibility that, for example, you have evidence that there is a 1, 2, and 3 is in place. The corrective 2 is over, and price is going above the high of first wave.
Correct.
So in that phase, you might plan trading based on momentum strategies. I mean, it should ideally work well because wave 3 is in place. What do you think about that?
This is a very good idea. In fact, when the wave 3 is in motion, I usually get on the lower time frames and try to get into the lower part of the investment, cash market investment, or to the lower. If I spot a stock in a larger weekly time frame of a wave 3, then I go into the daily time frame and try to get into the futures long, or whichever way, or futures short, whichever is the direction. So that's a very good strategy, and that should be followed. And that momentum strategy, if once you are sure that the wave 2 is formed and the stock has crossed above wave 1 and the wave 3 is in motion, is an absolutely wonderful idea.
Right.
Putting the momentum strategy at that moment can have a very high winning ratio.
Right. This can be a good takeaway. So one more thing, Piyush, which would be, you also talked about bearish counts. As per your experience, I mean, what has been a success ratio of bearish counts on higher time frame like daily, monthly? Why I'm asking this is because last 15, 20 years, we have only seen bull market in Indian stock market, right? We have only seen bull phases. It's not really a long-term bear market that we have seen.
Right.
And that is why this question.
And in fact, it's a very valid question. What has happened over the last 20-25 years is that even if you remember, I'll just take some moment to answer this question.
Yes,
so,
please.
If you remember, if you ever talk about Elliott Wave, and if you ever talk about Robert Prechter and Glenn Neely, you would mostly hear not about their successes or about their contribution to the Elliott Wave principle, but you would say that Prechter went wrong in 2004, that he had a bearish projection on the market, but he went wrong. Possibly he went wrong in 1 out of 100 times. What happens with bearish counts is, what happens in the bearishness of the market is something that human spirit also comes into the picture. Now let me take one more example of that. Sometime in 1980s, US market was probably getting into a very difficult phase. It had just come out of the correction, a long period of 1965 to 1982 correction. But even in the mid 80s, the things were ballooning, the treasury deficit and everything was ballooning. So economists were turning bearish. So there was one economist that I remembered by the name of Ravi Batra. So he came up with a book. He was an Indian born, but in US he came up with a book, Boom and Doom or something like that, Gloom and Doom, something like that. And the book went on to become a #1 bestseller in whole of America. He was projecting that markets would crash. Stock markets would crash in the 1990s, and this cannot last. But what happens in the bearish projections is that human spirit always actually surpasses and supersedes all sort of things. Now, even in the 1920s, when Dow Jones crashed 90%, now these are the kind of black swans that we talk about, happening once in 100-year kind of a thing, or Nifty crashing about 60% from the top. These are very rare possibilities. But in most cases, the bearishness is usually very sharp and quick and lasts for a very much shorter time frame. So if you look at the mirror formations of the bullish and the bearish formations, in the bearish formations, you have to be far more conservative. in your targets. So you will see a lot of Ellioticians coming up with a stock at $1,000. They'll come up with target of just $40. Now such things don't happen usually until unless the company goes bankrupt. So
Correct.
you are actually projecting a company to go bankrupt. Now, a human spirit also comes into the picture here. So they will try to save. It's only when the in the bearishness, the impulse starts forming that you should go step by step and have lower projections. So in the bearish projections, you have to be very, very conservative. Don't go, uh, don't go projecting that just because it has completed. Now, in the case of Bata India, just because it has completed wave 5 year doesn't mean that it will retrace 61.8 and come back to $100. So don't come up with such silly projections. Let's see whether the wave 5 can extend, or it might just go into a triangular formation and Bata India goes into a larger zigzag. It does not even retrace back to wave 4 low and goes into an ABC and goes up to $5,000. We don't know. So in a bearish projection, we have to go very, very step by step. The wave A here has formed, so all I can do here is my best case is have a wave C projection, not the entire wave impulse wave retracement projection. So in a bearish projection, go very conservative and go step by step is my advice.
Very well explained, Piyush. All right. So last question is, we talked about triangles and expanding triangles. So
Right.
that there are three threes. Uh,
Right.
how about this? I mean, if you see a triangular pattern on a chart, I mean, you don't know much about, so you haven't plotted Elliott counts, but you see a triangle.
Right.
Do you try to reverse engineer and see whether there is a Elliott corrective here? Does that work?
I always do that. It's like into the DNA by now. So yes, I check the Elliott wave counts of any triangle. So even if suppose I look at now Dow Jones uh, longer term is a very, very famous megaphone that is there. So if you look at the monthly pattern here, you meaning as an Elliotician, you would obviously want to see if there's a three wave here, three wave here, three wave here, three wave here, and a three wave here. So something like that. So whether this was an expanding formation or whether you go back to Reliance is a very, very famous case of uh, contracting triangle. Now this was the contracting triangle A B C D E. Here was a very, very famous contracting triangle that Reliance formed. So yes, I always go back and check the internals of that count. And in fact, an irregular triangle formed in Hang Seng also. Then uh, in fact, a an irregular triangle also happened in the Russell 2000. So all those things keep on happening. So you'll see triangles are far more common. And if you understand the irregular triangles, then you will see that irregular triangles are far more common than the regular triangles of contracting and horizontal. So triangle formations are very, very important if you try to understand the correctives.
Piyush, this is kind of very interesting takeaway for me because in points and figure you have these objective patterns like triangle and broadening. So if you scan and you come across such stocks, you can perhaps go back and see if they are in correctives and if there is a possibility of dynamic wave. So this could be very interesting from that perspective.
There's one more thing that I would want to share, and
Yeah, please.
this is pretty much you may not find it much in the books. Something what happens in a contracting triangle now, since we are on a contracting triangle, uh,
Yeah.
something like this formed here on a contracting triangle. Okay.
Okay.
Now what happened here is that it terminated here.
Huh.
Uh, I'll just mark it here. So
Yeah.
it terminated at 405 and it started here. So what
Right.
in contracting triangle, whenever you spot a contracting triangle on a very long term time frame, so just understand how to calculate the targets. Even if you do not know anything about Elliott wave, I'll just tell you how to calculate the target. Take the longest wave and measure it. You are doing Fibonacci extension. You are taking this as the beginning point. this as the point number A0, A, and here as the third point, and the target part is 1.272 of the longest wave. So I'll just show you the points here. Trend line formation. So what we have done is, now the contracting triangle is over. The contracting triangle has broken out of the contracting triangle. The price is at around 550, 600, and now you are short. You don't have to catch the bottom at 400. Even if at 550, 600, by now you are short that Reliance is coming out of the triangle, and this was the contracting triangle. So what exactly is your target? So you have formed the triangle, contracting triangle. The longest wave was this. You take this as the starting point, and you take the extension from where the contracting triangle ended, and you take the extension as 1.272. It will always and always match. Like it's I cannot say the accuracy rate, but I've yet to come across any instance when it has not matched. So
yeah, so you can
kind of
yeah. So I understand that. So basically, you can trade those triangle breakouts, and you can trade for that projection from the highest wave in the triangle.
Yes, and sufficiently after the triangle has broken out. You can do that. Correct. You can do it even on any time frame, whether it's a 60-minute time frame or a weekly or a monthly time frame. This formula of extension works across the time frames.
Right. So that is what I was about to ask. This works on any time frame.
Yes.
That matter.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, Piyush. So I think it was a brilliant presentation. We discussed many things, and I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways for people who are listening to it. So thank you very much for sharing your experience and strategy with us. It was a great presentation.
Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Piyush.